Hey guys. Say, y'all like my new hair? listen, listen. Well, welcome back to View from the Throne. I'm Lorenza Nicole Molina, aka the Black Butterfly Queen, La Reina Mariposa Negra. And why does it feel like I've been gone more than a week? Why does it feel like that? That's what it feels like. Excuse me, I'm just hitting everything. Sorry. But yes, welcome back. How are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Sorry I've been starting so late, guys. Really supposed to be on here at 7. It's just I'm gonna do better. That's let me just say that I'm gonna do better. I just wanna get in here and just talk about the journey up to now with the podcast and where I am right now. When I started this podcast, it started as an audio podcast. And I started and I stopped and things like that. And I started back up last year. About 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks before the year was out. So probably like in November. Yeah, November, the first week of November. I started back up with the podcast. I was doing audio. And God told me, okay, but you need to make this podcast a visual podcast, audio and visual podcast and everything. And I had, he had told me this prior, before I even started it back as an audio podcast. I did actually record the first 4 episodes because I like to work in bulk. So I tend to like to pre-record everything, edit everything, put everything out. That's like how I like to work. And so I started this restarted, but then I restarted as an audio because at that time I was like, it'd be faster for me to just start this way and just get my foot in the door and get my feet on the ground running, at least walking quickly. And then God told me again, you need to go ahead and start the audio. And I was like, okay. So at the top of the year, I started the audio podcast. And the way I have my hair right now is typically how I like to wear my hair. And he's been talking to me a lot about my hair and beauty and identity, new phases of life. That's what it's been about. And this whole time I've been challenged to be outside the box, to push myself outside the box. And it's been very uncomfortable most of the time for me because to do a podcast has me facing a lot of areas that I just didn't want to face. The concept of actually talking through a mic to anyone was a bit stressful. Yet God has given me a unique gift of gab when I need to use it. And I'm surprised truly that I have been able to do this. Some people will be like, oh, Shana, it's you. You should be able to do it. But they don't understand that I'm an introvert with the gift of gab. So I don't like small talk. I don't like, you know, irrelevant things. But when I like you, I have something to say. I want to share. And if you bring up something that's interesting to me, I'm going to want to listen to that or share about it. And I didn't see how I could do that, not directly interacting with people, and at least one-on-one. I'm good with one-on-one. And so I'm just saying all this to say, just to give an understanding, like this has been a process for me. And what put me outside of my comfort zone even the more was to go live. And not just go live, but then go live with my natural hair, because I wasn't really that comfortable with wearing it all the time, because it was just a challenge for me to learn how to manage my natural state of hair and things like that. And I quickly learned it's amazing. It's amazing. Water, I promise, is all you need. I have been wearing my hair natural. I haven't had any chemicals on it, but I was still doing like presses or just a blowout, or I braid my hair down. And every now and again, it would be out in its natural state, but not for very long. And I didn't really, you know, um, feel. I was okay like going to the store or whatever, but I just didn't feel comfortable on camera. On camera, you want to just do what that makes you feel comfortable, and then grow into other things maybe. But you don't start off with your uncertainties when you are on camera. Well, today I was able to go get my hair did the way, I usually like to have it, and I feel different. It feels like it's not that, like, not because of my hair, but it feels like this is just marking a day for me. Like, me getting my hair done today is like me marking what this day actually feels like to me. It's kind of like just highlighting it, because I realized, like, this whole time that I was, you know, at starting this visual podcast from the beginning of this year to now. This is like with my 15th episode. Um, is it my 15th? Child, I don't think it's my 15th episode. I misspoke. Um, but just on the visual part, I have plenty of audio, but just on the visual, I've gone through so much at the beginning of this year. I went through so much preparation for the beginning of this year. Um, we are now in April. We just had the solar eclipse happen, and I have gone through so much just from the ending of last year to the beginning of this year. Lost a couple of people that I loved. Um, I've been switching careers or adding to my career, things like that. Just all kinds of stuff. And I say all this to say that today feels different, and my hair is the highlighter of it for me. Um, because I look different than I came in this year. Um, and so it's like I'm a visual person. So, I need, this is like a visual landmark, and I look different to myself. Even than before, like I always wear my hair like this, but I look different to myself today. And I think it's a way to kind of compare and contrast where I started and where I am, because this is like a usual, a general template. And, but I realized that when all this, I real going back, it looks like things have been just compressed in time so that we can be rapidly grow. So I started wearing my hair in braids like somewhere around the summertime, and I haven't had a press since last year or anything like that. And it was either braids or natural, like I said. And now I'm back to my hair press, and when I'm looking at myself, I was expecting myself, to look pretty much like I do before. Anytime I'm used to wearing my hair this way, but I look different to myself. I look different. And sometimes, hey Carlos. And sometimes we need a old template to put ourselves up against to see the differences. It's kind of like when you get an old picture of yourself, a new picture of yourself, you're like, oh wow, I can notice the differences. I can notice the changes. And today already felt different. If today already felt like I'm leaving a certain space now. That doesn't mean I'm going to take it so literal that I'll never wear my hair in natural state again or nothing like that. That's not what I mean. But um, I have a way to literally compare and contrast and say something about now is different than the last time I was like this or did this. Um, and I know I'm slow walking us to this because there's so many things. I'm trying to stay on the point. There's so many things and avenues I can go. But I realized that who we were last year, this is not just me, but there's so many people that who they were last year, they couldn't have imagined their identity or who they are now the way that they are now. Thank you, girl. Hey, mom. But who they were then, they couldn't imagine or put together the mentality that they would have right now. Got me on the big screen. They couldn't imagine. And that's what I'm dealing with today. I'm dealing with renewal. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to that point, but that's what this is. I can do the same. I can wear the same thing and not look the same in it. I can go to the same places and not feel the same way when I did. I can eat the same food and it tastes different. Like renewal or freshness or brand newness, just becoming something. I can see how much difference I have now than I did then. Excuse me, guys. If you would have told me I would be here right now, the way I'm thinking, the way I'm feeling, so driven to go forward in the middle of a lot of different pains and blessings, favor, it's not fair. And when I say that favor is not fair because the ones who get it, to whom much is given, much is required. And I'm so grateful for the rapid growth, but at the same time, rapid growth can hurt. You remember when you're a kid and you're having a growth spurt and your legs hurt, your body hurts. Some kids even deal with stomach pains and just insomnia a little bit or sleeping too heavily or whatever. They deal with different things in their body because they're having a rapid growth moment. And so it hurts more. You wake up in pain when you're supposed to wake up energized, little things like that. I mean, if your kids are telling you they're waking up achy and stuff, don't be like, well, you young, you should be fine, baby. Go on in there. No, see about them. You know what I'm saying? They may be achy for real. Especially if they're talking about their joints and their legs and stuff, because they're probably having growth spurts. If they're extra tired and they seem like they can't focus in school, they may need to go to bed a little earlier because they're in a growth spurt. And so you can't do things the same way you usually do them, or your tolerance to certain things are not going to be the same when you are in a growth spurt. And what's crazy is in growth spurts, so much changes. For boys, their voice can change. Literally, they'll go from hi mommy to hi mama. Yeah, I know. I did it. My voice changed just a little bit, right? Okay. Their voice will change. You be like, that's my baby. My baby is growing up. You grew so fast over the summer. You were this big and now you're this big. Like all of that. A growth spurt. We know kids typically need about 10 hours of sleep. When you're growth spurt, you sleeping heavier and you can sleep longer. You can take naps and you're eating more. You're just hyper going, you know. So you have more of an appetite, you're growing more, your voice may change. You might start growing more hair, your hair texture might change. The way you feel about things change, the way you see things change, your outlook on life changes. What you used to enjoy doesn't it's not the same. What you didn't like, now you may like. Things you never thought you would identify with or like when you were in your growth spurt or puberty, you liked after. Some of us liked some things a little bit too much, but that was the whole point, was the change. Even your wiring of your brain changes, your thought process, how you think about things, how you put things together changes. 2-year-olds go through this. We hear about the terrible twos and how they act and everything, because most of the time their brain is being rewired again, or being rewired. And between the ages of 2 and 6, they say this is a real critical time because of all the brain rewiring that's happening, when they learning and everything. You got your mind going faster than your motor skills or your ability to say what you're thinking, but you're very much aware of how you feel and you don't like it. There's a lot of changes. Hormone changes continue to happen throughout our life as we get older, into our 40s, into our 50s, into our 60s. We're constantly going through changes or quick spurts or growing pains of some sort. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard that, but excuse my background. Like I said, be having a lot going on. Oh, it's not about perfection. Okay. It's about getting it done. Okay. Um, one of the, so what I'm realizing is that a lot of this time, from, if you look at just summertime or June maybe of last year, or April even of last year, this time, who you were and what you did and how you thought, and the taste in your mouth that you have for certain things and now you don't, or whatever, and all the things from that point to this point that you went through, you can consider that maybe you were going through a spiritual growth spurt. A spiritual growth spurt to get you prepared for the life that you're about to lead and live. And God had to rapidly increase you in size, rapidly increase your thinking, rapidly increase your hunger for something, rapidly increase your desire for something. And it hurt. And this is why you had to deal with being blessed and going through pain at the same time, because you were in a growth spurt. You were in a spiritual growth spurt. You were in an emotional growth spurt. You were maturing. You were growing, but you still need God's guidance. Just because you've come to a certain space in this growth spurt, this is a time when sometimes we don't want to listen. We don't want no one to tell us anything. We want to do it our way, and it's not going to work. We have to remember that it's that, just like, the 2-year-old's throwing a temper tantrum, and the teenager may get a little, attitude, or, when they 21, they just know, child, you can't tell nothing. I pay bills and I'm grown. Not really grown, just an adult. Grown is like somewhere over past 50, in my opinion. Okay, you got to be an adult for a while before you actually grown, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Then you're up there in your 50s and 60s. You don't want to listen to your kids, even though they're trying to give you food and medicines and vitamins so you can live life. And you're like, no, it is what it is. Nobody wants to listen when they're in a growing pain or a growth spurt or a rapid change in their life, because it's just, you're trying to navigate that. And how can someone who's not in it tell you how to navigate it? Because they're on the outside, right? But sometimes those people are set up to help you not fall or stumble or in the process of your rapid growth, because it is a daunting thing. When we're pregnant, we're pregnant, we go through 9 months of 9 months of, carrying a baby. Really, it's almost like 10. If you count the weeks, it's almost like 10, but it's not. And our body goes through so much. By the time we like one thing, we don't like it. By the time we finally fit in this one shirt, the next day we can't fit it. It is so exhausting to deal with so many rapid changes. Yet you're blessed because you are about to have a child. You may have wanted to have children your whole life, and you finally got to have this baby. But in the process of the blessing, in the process of all that, you are still going through stuff because of its presence. Because the presence is there, you have to go through it. Because you have a purpose and you have a gift, you are going to have to go through it. I don't know who I don't know if somebody's been asking, like, God, why is this even happen? Because of the purpose, because of the gift, because of the timing. It decided to show up when it showed up. You are going to have to go through it. You're going to have to go through the growing pains. There was no way around it. You can't have a baby and somebody not go through some growing pains. Now you can have a surrogate. People have surrogates, but that means she has to go through the growing pains in order to deliver the baby. Somebody has to carry the purpose. Somebody has to carry it. And so you going through growth pains. So all these things that have happened have brought you to this space where now you don't even think or move like the person you did before. You may be a little bit more humble, you may be a little bit more confident, but you may be a little bit more sure, you may be a little bit more unsure in some areas, or just like, well, what am I doing here? How did I get here? I never been this place before. But most definitely you do not look like where you came from just a year ago, let alone 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I feel like now that we've gone through the growing pains and we've gone through the growth spurts and we've gone through the blessing and we faced the curse and we broke the chains and all this stuff. It's time now. It's time to go wash all your war wounds. I'm not saying that there won't be challenges ahead, but these challenges will be different. You know, now it's time to go wash the war wounds, go wash the grime off, go do that, and come and see how far you've come. We've been getting through a lot of this stuff with just our heads down, just one step at a time, one brick at a time, one thing at a time. I'm not saying that you don't still have to do one thing at a time, but this is the time where it's kind of important to look up and look around and be like, okay, I've come to a certain point. I've come past a certain point. I've actually grown. I may not feel like I've accomplished where I'm trying to get to yet, but this place is still important to understand that you've accomplished more than you've realized in a short amount of time. At least God has accomplished more within you in a short amount of time. You're making decisions and moving differently about your business, about your family. You're not talking as much as you used to about certain stuff. You're not giving everybody information about about certain things like you used to. Can y'all hear that? I hear some. This is probably a place where there's like that small little indicator where it's like, oh, something's different. Something, something, something feels a little different. That's what today's felt like to me. It feels like something's a little different. I'm different. I'm not the same woman I was just a few months ago. I mean, there's things that hurt me that I wouldn't even have the energy to cry about right now. I would just be like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go over and do this. I just, I feel different on the inside. And there may be something in your life where it's just like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that. I just don't want it. Even some of the things you used to complain about, it's just like, yeah, I'm not happy about it, but that's it. I just don't have no energy to give to it. I'm not happy about it, but so I'm just saying that we're in a different place. So I said renewal, like feeling refreshed, but it's more like just a growth spurt because you've never been here before. You've never um, had these experiences that you're having now. And some things don't even have words. Like you're literally starting to live out things that never had words. This is why it couldn't come in the dream. It couldn't come in the vision. It had to be something that you walk through so you can learn it. And you've been walking through fire, no, learning it, learning the dance of the flame, not really being burned. Maybe you're a little hot, maybe a little uncomfortable, but you're being made brand new for the going. It just feels like the temperature is different, like the atmosphere has changed. It just feels like we ain't where we used to be. We're not in Kansas no more. Something happened in the middle of all the chaos. Something took place. A transformation happened. A shift happened somewhere along the way. And I'm starting to see the first glimpses of it. I'm not can't quite make out the face or the picture or the image, but I'm starting to feel the first glimpses of something. And I don't want to get my hopes up because there's a lot of people who don't even want to get their hopes up for something new. It's like you can feel it, but it's like I don't want to get my hopes up though. I can almost taste it, but I don't want to get my hopes up. I can almost see it. And this time when I'm looking at it, it looks like it's in my reach. But that may just be the dream that I had so long ago, just coming back to my memory. But it almost feels like I could just touch it and it's real. It almost feels like I can just it feels like it's right there, but at the same time, no, I must be making up things because you've been through so many things, so much pain, so much stress, so much of heartache and blessing and people persecuting you because you're blessed and all that stuff and disappointments and rises and falls and being vulnerable with in your all that, and you don't really have you don't want to like speak against the blessing coming. You don't want to speak against yourself. You believe in manifestation, so you don't want to say anything wrong, but at the same time, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Is it real? Is it really about to happen? Is it really coming to pass? Am I actually in this for real? I mean, you've been saying I've crossed over into the promised land, but it's it's kind of like when the first part of the wall of Jericho began to crumble. I'm pretty sure they were like, "What's that noise? Did y'all hear that? It's what's happening? What's happening? Oh my gosh, what God told me he would do. What he told me to do actually worked. I didn't see how this could work at all. I literally went by my faith. I went by faith. That's why, and it's working for me. Like this is about to be my life. Yeah, it's working. It's working for you. It's working for your good. I think this is the part of life where we start finding out that what God meant when he said that what the enemy meant for your bad, I meant for your good. I will use for your good. What the enemy means for your bad, I mean for your good. So that same thing, that pain, that heartache, that betrayal, he meant it to destroy you. God meant it to lift you up. The same lies that he meant to use against you so that you would never become who you were, so that you would believe the lie was meant to refortify your faith. Say, oh, you know what? That's not who I am. That lie against your identity. That lie that people had, that the words people had spewing against you, circulating against you when you never said a word, it was necessary. So when he lifted you up and they saw, wait a minute, that's not who we thought she was. Can you imagine spitting and kicking somebody when they're down? Can you imagine, let's say back in medieval times, lady with a cloak on, she's walking. She looks poor. She looks ran down. And she gets attacked, gets beat up. And they don't know who she is because of what she has on. They don't know who he is because of what he has on. Maybe it's a guy, whatever. Say those same people in a time of need come. The same people that left you for dead, those same people come now, and you're the one on the throne. And you're like, you remember me? I was the one that you beat in the street. I was the one that you lied on. That was me. Can you imagine being on the other side of that? I don't want to be on the other side of that. I don't want to find out that I sat here and beat up a queen or a king or somebody of authority and power just because they looked different that day. Some people will be, and some of y'all are. What a hard lesson. But I'm sure Joseph didn't think that. I'm sure Joseph didn't ever imagine that he would be the second in command over Egypt. I'm sure he never imagined it, even though his life kept showing it. I'm sure he never imagined it. You said his life kept showing it, but he was sold into slavery. How did Joseph's life show that he was meant for greatness? Well, he had the dream. There's a start. Got the coat of many colors. But that's, what does that mean when you get left for dead, sold into slavery by your brothers? What does that even mean? How can that be for his good? Well, the enemy meant it for his bad, obviously, for him to be a slave, for him to feel worthless and without value. The false humbling that people try to do when they think that you think you're better than them. They go out of their way to put you down or put you in a position to where you are drug through the dirt because you need to be humbled. Who are you? You have high hopes and dreams. Have you ever heard somebody talk about you need to get a real job? You that's cute. That's cute or whatever that you're doing is cute, but how's it gonna pay your bills? Like, that's not. False humbling. Or this one. When somebody would tell you as a kid, oh, you're such a handsome young man, or you're such a beautiful young lady, and then one of the adults will be like, oh, don't tell them that, they're gonna get a big head. Why would you want them not to tell me that? Why is it so wrong to believe in yourself? Why is it so wrong to believe in yourself? We say we want people to believe in ourselves, believe in themselves, but our society constantly takes that away. Soon as somebody starts believing themselves, starts speaking into themselves, oh, you must be a narcissist. What? No, 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 no. And we use certain terms way too loosely, not understanding the real meaning behind them. Narcissistic personality disorder, meaning that you can have a disorder in it, but somebody that is a narcissist may not have a narcissistic personality disorder. They may just be somebody that really, really, really believes in themselves without jeopardizing other people's belief in themselves. They don't put other people down. They just really believe that they can do it. But if you have a personality disorder, then you'll gaslight and make people believe anything just to protect your ego and your idea of yourself. But why is it that we can't believe in ourselves? As soon as somebody actually does, we hurt them. We drag them through the dirt. And how is this going to be used for your good if this is all that people do? This situation literally telling you that you are worth nothing. Your words mean nothing. Your pain means nothing. Your scars mean nothing. And if you don't get up right now and do this, that, and the third, you could die, or you could lose your right or your privilege of life by the will of somebody else who is not better than you, but has to put you down so that you can to exert their greatness, their false greatness. How is this good when it's meant to hurt me and destroy me so badly? Because this is the direction to your throne. This is the road less traveled. This is the way you have to go to get to where I'm trying to take you. It may not be the fun way. It may be painful. It is going to be painful. There's a lot of things that are not fun in it. But this is the only road that leads to your throne. And then what's crazy is if you try to run off this road, you can't really escape the road. Your map will just reroute. And the more you try to run off of it, the more problems you're going to run into. It's like sometimes life can feel like Jumanji. I was just watching that. It can feel like that. But it also is for your good. Because we know the deeper the roots go into the soil, the stronger the tree. The deeper the roots go into the dirt, the stronger the tree. The deeper you have been pressed down into the ground, buried under the soil, the more you got to push past, the stronger you are. And the stronger you are, the more you can deal with the winds and the turbulent winds and rains and weather that is above the shelter of the dirt. Imagine your pain and the trauma that you went through, God used as a shelter, as a weight to strengthen you so that you would be strong enough to withstand what it would be like to be in the light. Because if you were in the light too soon, your seed would have blown around and it would have landed somewhere where there was no place to take root. So yeah, the enemy buried you, meant for you to die there. Try to make you believe that you were dead, because that's what we do. We bury dead things. So he's like, I'm going to put you in the dirt. So you have an identity crisis so that you'll think that you're something dead. Because I need to mess with your belief system. But meanwhile, even when you were unsure of who you were growing. Meanwhile, it hurt to push past that rock. you kept growing. All this time, you found ways to push past the dirt. And you thought it was so bad. You thought, all this was so bad. How can I be great? It's because now you're stronger and your roots are deep. Everywhere Joseph went, he was excelled to the highest point. When he was in prison, he helped run the prison. When he was in Potiphar's house, he was the main slave in his house. Like the top notch. That was Potiphar's dude. Like that was his friend nearly. Like he trusted Joseph. So even in the most sticky, dirty situations he faced, he was always elevated above it. He was always head or leader. And it was all because his father decided to go do something different with him, to teach him to read and write and understand certain things and give him education in a different way than the other boys did, because he knew that Joseph was special and that he was going to do something. He didn't even let him labor like them physically. So that dream that he gave you, just because someone tore up the coat, doesn't mean that it's still not going to happen. All those times where you felt different and why everybody else get to do this and I don't get to do it, or why do I always have to be the one to go do this? Why I'm always picked for that? Why? Because you already are who you are. You just got to grow a little. Joseph didn't even ask for the dream. He just had it. And later on, even the evil that his brothers did, God still used it for their own good. And this is another lesson. See, we always talk about the things that happen to us, but we don't ever really talk enough about the things that we do that is wrong, that we bring on ourselves. And while they were tormented by the reality of what they did all those years and became very protective of Benjamin because of that, why it tormented their soul, God even used their own mistakes to benefit them, because them selling him into slavery would take Joseph all the way to Egypt, would take him into Potiphar's house, would get him accused of doing something that he never did, land him in prison, have the dream, interpret the dreams of the other prisoners. That prisoner finally remember him after years later, and after he's been elevated in the prison, to come back. And now he is even higher than Potiphar, technically, because Pharaoh trusts him. He starts, because he interprets that dream for Pharaoh. They listen to whatever he needs them to do, because Egypt's about survival and leaving a legacy in memory and always being remembered. That's what they're about. They're not finna just die. They're going to follow through, right? So now you have the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. And now the 7 years of famine coming. Now a famine. Would you think that would be for your good? But it's the same famine that would bring him face to face with his brothers, the ones that sold him into slavery. It's the same famine that would bring them back to the brother they thought, yeah, he must be dead now because we sold him into slavery. He would have never survived. He didn't have any labor skills like us. He didn't, I'm sure he's dead. So with the what the enemy meant for bad for both of them, for them to live in regret so heavily and guilt, and him to live in resentment and hurt, came to where not only did it benefit him, Joseph, and the dream that he had when he was just wearing the coat and not in the dream, but just wearing the covering of the dream, the template of the dream. It all came to pass. It all came to pass. Did he still have the coat? No. Did he have his mother? No. Did he lose out a lot on things he probably felt like he should have had? Yeah, maybe. But that was the only road to the purpose for him. And there always has to be a Judas for an elevation. A lot of us have had our Judas moments. We've dealt with our Judas. But it could be Judas, it could be Saul. But we need a little dirt on it for the dream to grow. They came and they were fed. And I think this is what God's love is. No matter what people do to you, no matter even what you do, if you come back to him, he can use your mistakes to bless you. He can use your mistakes because the enemy whispered in your ear for you to make the mistakes, for to encourage you to do the thing. But even in that was meant for also your bad, to curse yourself. And God can turn it around. So those of us that are guilty or feel regretful or not good about something, God can use your mistakes. He can use your wrongs to still cover you. Because what ended up happening, yes, they came and they ate, but they end up bringing all their families and their sons. And they end up working as a family for Pharaoh as his shepherds. Now, mind you, shepherds were kind of looked down on a little bit back then, but these was the shepherds to the Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? They worked in the, they worked in the backyard of Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? They tended to his stuff. Like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, they came and they had jobs. Like, so God can use even your mistake to make room for you. He can use your mistake to make room for you. You might have messed up, but God can forgive, and he does forgive. And he can use what the enemy was trying to plant the seed of I'm not worthy into you to put you in a position of that you would never think or imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes. They'll be shining. I think brighter than the sun. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be like this song. I just had to sing it, y'all. It just came to me. But you can just stick with God, because it doesn't matter what happened last year. It doesn't matter where you were last year. It doesn't matter if you had to, if this growth spurt season was either you pressing through something because it was difficult for you because you were called to it and you're trying to be obedient to it, and out of your obedience, or this growth spurt season was you dealing with consequences for choices that you made, but within the mercy of God and the grace of God, and trying to be faithful despite, so you're being challenged to go do that old thing again, but you're being faithful, because I will not do the old thing that I did before, because I made a commitment to God that I will follow through. I made a commitment to God that I will follow through. I would not go back to old ways or old habits. It's either I'm not going back to old ways or old habits, because that will lead me to back to old ways and old mistakes and repeating those things, or it's I won't go back to old ways and old habits, because now I'm past that and I can't grow in that place anymore. I can't grow in that space anymore. I have to leave those people behind. And I'm not leaving them behind because I made a mistake. I'm leaving them behind because I'm trying to be obedient. So you're either being obedient because despite what people are doing to you, or you're being obedient despite what you want to do, despite what you did, despite how you did it, with who you did it with. And they like, but you acting like you better than us. You acting like you. I'm not acting like I'm better, baby. I'm acting according to what I know better. I know better about something, and I got to act according to. And the people try to bring up your old stuff. Oh, okay, so you think you all of that now? No, 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 no. If anything, I know I'm not all of that, and I'm trying to do better for myself. But you know what? What's wrong if I did think I was all of that? My all of that ain't got nothing to do with your all of that. Not a thing. That's my business. Or you got people, you always out here doing this. Why can't you just be over here with me, or be over here and do this? Why you always got to be a goody two shoes? A goody two shoes. Try to discourage you from growth because they don't want to grow. So regardless if it was a mistake that you had to change, and you had to be faithful between the in this during this time, between before and where you are today, but between last year this time and where you are today, regardless if it was a mistake, regardless if it was just God calling you and God saying, okay, I need you to do this, regardless if you got put into the situation because somebody else's disobedience or your own disobedience, regardless, and you have to still be faithful. God is looking at your faithfulness. He's looking at your faithfulness. He's looking at your ability to be faithful despite what has happened, what they did, or even what you did. God said, you said, I'm going to be faithful though, Lord. I'm going to be faithful. I'm not going to let my situation tell me who I am. I'm not going to let where I've come from tell me who I am, regardless if where I came from was not believing in myself, so I was running from you. Regardless of where I come from was I always had to do it by myself, and now I got to even leave the ones I thought had my back. I got to do it by myself a little bit longer, but I'm going to go anyway because I just want to know what you mean when you say your gift makes room for you. When you say, I will give it to you, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. When you say that I can live an abundant life. When you say that, I want to know what you mean. I want to experience your word and know it as my lifestyle. I don't want to know it two-dimensionally. I need to know it in 3D. I need to know it in 4D. I need to know it 5 dimensionally. I need to experience it, taste it, and I need to be able to live it. And no amount of whatever I did or whatever they did is going to stop me from being faithful right now. And because you decided to make that decision, you may still be trying to, well, I got to make sure I don't do too much and this and that. I gotta make sure that I don't let nobody tell me who I am and all that stuff. And now that things are starting to appear on the horizon, like the father of the prodigal son waving, and now that you're starting to see it, you're starting to wonder, well, is this really happening? Am I really about to be blessed? And did I really come this far? Is this really for me? Was I really, did I obey God good enough? You ain't gotta die to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. Hear it today. Hear it today. It hurt. You didn't feel good. You didn't feel happy about it. You got shut down by so many. People just figured you should be okay because it's you. They didn't even check on you. But you stayed faithful. You stayed faithful. You didn't even know if you were worthy. You didn't even know if it mattered. Who are you to even serve God? Some of us don't even feel like we're good enough to serve God. Like, who am I? I'm nothing. But I'm going to still try though. Because I'd rather try than stay where I was. I rather come to him like a servant, even if he don't call me his child. But do you know that you're beautiful? Do you know that even if you were the one that sold Joseph, this story is not just about Joseph. This is also about the redemption of his brothers. That he was positioned by the lie in order to produce the truth. The lie positioned him so the truth could come out. The hurt positioned him so he could experience the truth. Regardless of the crushing, regardless if he even lost faith in himself at one point, the dream still came to pass. Have you had a dream? Have you ever had a dream? Have you ever had a dream? Have you ever had a dream? Martin Luther King was the only one with a dream. You may not feel so innocent no more. This world has brought you to spoils, it seems like. But yes, baby, yes, that's for you. That hand that's reaching out, waving on the horizon, saying, come and see. Come and eat. Do you know what this father did? He said, go get my cloak, go get my robe and put it on him. Put a robe on him. See, Joseph's robe was taken off and it was ripped up. But the prodigal son was given a robe when he came back. Regardless if you got the robe and it got snatched away, or you came back and that's when the robe got put on you. Regardless, you were chosen by love. You were chosen to move mountains. You were chosen for such a time as this. You didn't think you were worthy of the robe, but who is? Just because some of us were exposed to the robe before we made the mistake didn't mean that we were more worthy then of the robe. See, your mistakes and your triumphs don't make you more or less worthy of something. It's God saying that you are. It's God loving you anyway. So I'm so grateful that Joseph made it and got to the position he was always going to be in, no matter where he was. He was always going to be who he was. He was always going to have the intelligence, the gift, no matter where he was. This is why he would always rank and go up high, no matter where he went, no matter what house he would be in, he would always be above. Some people will try to push and pull you down. And some of us have been those people trying to push and push other people down because we don't understand the concept that if we can see the greatness in somebody else, if we can see what they have, we don't realize that that is an indicator in itself that we have greatness. From these, these are the 12 tribes of Israel. Yeah, Joseph was the reason they end up coming. To the point 400 years later, the same people would be in slavery. Then 400 years after that, they would be relieved from slavery. Then follow Moses out into the promised land. Then follow to the desert. And then Joseph to the promised land. Jesus would come through one of these bloodlines. One of the older brothers. I can't remember right now. And the bloodline he came through was full of mess. And child was full of a lot of stuff. A lot of mess. Mingling of marriages and all kinds of stuff. But that's the line he would come through. We love to talk about how, he came through the line of David. Yeah, but his one of his great grandmothers was out there. She was out there, She was out there. She helped. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The one that helped them to escape, and everything when it came to Jericho and Joseph and them and everything. She was one of them. Hagar. Yeah. She's lady of the streets. Okay. Yeah. That was his great grandmother. He gives some kind of context on why he would want to speak to the woman at the well and why he would draw the line in the sand for Mary Magdalene to say, he without sin, throw the first stone. Ain't nobody worthy. But everybody's gifted. But everybody has a purpose. That God has a plan for all of us. Ain't nobody worthy. God said, all fall short of the glory of God. What's the point of measuring? I got 2 inches closer to him than you did. Okay. And are you God? No. But he did tell Nicodemus, Pharisee, believe that's what it was, that when Mary was washing his hair at his feet, and he was like, why would she do this? Da, 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 da. And he talked about those who were forgiven of much will love much. I think that matters to him. Why else would he bring that up? To love much. He says, there's no greater love than for a man to lay down his life for his brother. Right? And that doesn't necessarily physically mean man. It means any person who lays down their life. What did he do? He gave us the greatest love when he laid down his life for us. His one life covered on many lives, a multitude of sins, iniquities, things that's internally deep. Only God knows. You may not feel good enough, but newsflash, no one is. And I'm not saying that because that is just what we all say. Ain't nobody good. We not. From what I understand, the word good derives from the name God, the word God, God, capital G. We don't, child, please. Goodness, all good things come from him. There's no, even the good things that we decide to do, they still come from him. So I want to say congratulations. If you've been fighting to be faithful for any reason, I want to say congratulations. You've done well. You didn't think you did. You didn't believe you did. You didn't believe that God could love you so much. But this is the thing. You can't do anything for him to love you or not love you. That's what unconditional love means. Now, will he discipline you? Will he correct you? Yes. But he loved you because he loves you. It had never had anything to do with your perfection or what you didn't do, what you do. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. But sin can remove us from his presence. And so he would rather us obey if we love him so that we can be in his presence and live under him instead of under the thumb and rule of sin or ways. But it's the thing, we're all going to make mistakes, but it's when you decide to live in it. We are now entering to a place where we're going to live in what he means abundance. And a lot of us are coming from places where we have never seen that before. And it may be a little scary. We may feel obligated to help people we should not be helping. But aren't you supposed to be a cheerful giver? Yeah. But God also says, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You got a serpent waits and watches before it makes its strike. A dove is gentle. Meaning if you want to water somebody and you want to give, you need to maybe watch for a little bit. Because maybe you will give, but you need to know how and when to give, because those two coming together are more impactful than just giving. You have to be careful on what you give to, because you give life to things sometimes that you shouldn't. Water is powerful. It quenches our thirst. It's what we need to make a lot of food. It's what we need to water our gardens or to cool us off or to clean things. Water even holds memory scientifically. If you look at water, it can hold memory. If you speak to water, speak positively to water consistently, it'll be cleaner. But if you speak negatively, it will be dirtier, because water holds memory. So yeah, be careful with your water. Be careful where you water at. Don't feel like, oh, I gotta go water everybody because I was once like them. I'm obligated to everybody. No, you're obligated to God. Those are his people. Whatever he tells you to do concerning them, you do. If he tells you to move out the way, you move. If he tells you give them, buy them a hamburger and some chips or some French fries, then you do that. But you don't need to be obligating yourself to people. Obligate yourself to loving God well. That's it. He'll show you what to do. This is how we cover our own hearts, because when we do stuff for people, people will be ungrateful. They will throw it back in your face. They will say ain't nobody care for them when you was right there in their face caring for them. All that kind of stuff. And it will hurt you because you did it for people. But if you do it for God, it don't matter what they say. God is always going to tell you well done. He's always going to appreciate you. He's going to love you. Yes, I said God will appreciate you. Yeah. And love you. And be happy about you. And enjoy being with you. You deserve to be here. That's why you were created. Anytime you question that, look in the mirror and say, am I alive? If the answer is yes, that means, then yes, you deserve to be here. You're supposed to be here. And I say that with sensitivity, because some people are gone before their time, and I want to be sensitive to that. But I want to make sure that you understand, you guys that are here, you're here because he wanted you to be here. He wanted. God don't need nothing from nobody. He wanted you to be here. Ask him what he want from you. Next time you're confused about what your purpose is, or if you have value, well, you have some type of value. If God wanted you here, if you need to figure out what that is, I think you got to ask him, and he will find a way to give you that understanding in a way that you understand. Don't look for it to always come like everybody else's. In a way that you understand. He know how to talk to you, and you know how to hear him. You can, in the name of Jesus. And if you're having a hard time, I pray that you do. Hear him for yourself. Feel him for yourself. Experience him for yourself. But yeah, it's coming, guys. It's over the hill. Right there. It's waving at us. The new things, the new life. The things that we thought we could never have. What we used to believe in ourselves coming to fruition, even though we're not in the same place we were when we was a child with blind faith. Now we got faith, but we ain't so blind, are we? We done seen some stuff. So now we're dealing with distracted, yet having faith. Having faith, but I'm distracted. Having faith, but I'm distracted. Things keep trying to distract me. And so distractions become your scales. They become the thing that you're blind. We try to make you blind. So you got to have faith despite what you see. See, kids, they don't see nothing but what you say, and they believe it. When you start seeing a whole lot of stuff as an adult, yeah, you got to be faithful despite what you see. I can't see what he's saying. It doesn't matter if you have distractions as scales or you can see nothing. You still got to remain faithful. Sometimes we don't believe, but faith is an action word. So when you are unsure, still do what God told you to do anyway. Because you know what, he said it. He must mean it. I believe him, even though I'm unsure. I'm not so confident right now, but I'm going to do it because he told me to. Stay faithful. But congratulations on getting here. Congratulations on coming back and picking up your robe. Congratulations on your arrival to better. Congratulations to you. Congratulations that you decided to stay faithful even though they gaslit you. Congratulations that you decided to show up even though there was nobody else there but you. Congratulations. You did it. Now, walk up the hill. Now, go forward. Walk up the hill and see what's on the other side. You've come too far to not go up that hill. You have no idea what's there for you. And it may seem faint, it may not seem real. And I'm also telling myself this because there's some things that I have had a hard time believing, like, is it really going to be for me, God? Really, right now? Really? I don't want to believe it because I don't want to feel hurt again. I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't want to cry again. I don't want to be broken again. I don't want to live. I don't want to go through the trauma. I don't know if I can survive it again. But God is saying it's right there. It's so close. Just keep going. Just up the hill right there. The reason why you can't see it the same way you did when it was just a dream, because you're in such close proximity. It's hard to see the picture. It's hard to see the forest for the trees. When you're swimming in the ocean, you're like, I want to see the ocean, but you're already in it. You're in it. That's why you feel all these things, but you can't see it quite right yet. But it feels like something's happening, but you don't want to get too excited because you've done that before. But it's right there. Just keep going. Just keep going. I've had some good days, and I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days, and some sleepless nights. But when I look around and I think things over, all of my good days away my bad days, I won't complain. That song just came to my head. Guys, you're on your way. We have been through a transition. Something has shifted today. Things are brand new. You're not who you used to be. You are who you need to be now to go forward. So if you don't get nothing else from all the things that I said, sum it up with this. You are who you need to be right now without any apology. Don't apologize for anything anymore. That does not concern you. Old things that people want to bring up, guilt trips people want to give you. No more apologies for things that concern you not anymore. They concern you not. They are not part of who you are. You are a brand new person today. You are exactly who you need to be right now to do what is given to you to do right now in this next part. You are everything you are supposed to be right now. Your heart is where it needs to be. Your mind is where it needs to be. Your soul is where it needs to be. Your spirit is where it needs to be. You are aligned with God. And there needs never to be an apology for that. You never have to apologize for that. You never have to apologize for being in line with God. You are everything you're supposed to be. Because what's about to happen next is going to require who you are right now. Not who you were last year. Not who you were 3 months ago. Not even who you were last week. Who you are right now. That's what it's going to require. It don't feel real. It don't feel like you can have it. I'm over here crying now. Lord Jesus. But who you are right now is enough. So all this perfection stuff I got to do, I need to change this. No. No more apologizing for what didn't happen, for guilt trips that people give you, for what you thought you missed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are enough right now. And that's what my lesson was throughout this time, was to learn that what I have, what I am right now, it's enough. I need not be more than what I am to finish the task. You don't have to prepare more or I gotta study more. I gotta with anxiety. If you learn, okay, but don't do it with anxiety. But who you are today, you have arrived at what and who you need to be right now for what he's giving you right now. No more imposter syndrome. It'll try to creep up, but you better put it back in its place. I am who I'm supposed to be. And I'm going to be who I need to be when it's time for me to be that person for the next thing. But right now, for the thing that's coming, for the thing that has begun to knock at the door, Peter is at the door knocking. For the next thing that's coming, I am exactly who I need to be. And I'm not apologizing to family members, to old friends. I'm not apologizing for what I didn't do. I'm not apologizing because you left us behind. No. I didn't leave you behind. You didn't come. You didn't go through the process that it took for me to become who I am. But you want me to give you all that I earned from the process and think that it's going to be valid. God will read that and be like, null and void because your name's not on it. her name's on it. Even if I gave it to you, her name is on it. It reminds me when I was a little kid and we had these lunch cards and our names would be on it and they would mark it with a pen. Before you start putting in your key code, you have to mark with a pen. I had a bully come up to me. I was like in first grade. He came up to me, kindergarten. He came up to me and he was almost sixth grade. And he was talking about he wanted me to give him my breakfast card. My breakfast card is my lunch card. On one side is breakfast, and the next side is lunch card. It had the dates on it. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And he was like, you gonna give it to me? I was like, if I gave it to you, it still wouldn't work because my name is on it. Ooh, wee! I've been showing up to the lunch lady for at least 4 weeks, not 4 weeks, 4 days out of this month. And it says Shana Nicole on here. That's my birth name. Shana Nicole on here. That's what it say. It don't say your name. And I'm a girl. They gonna know that it's not yours. It's a girl name. That's what I told them. And he said, if you don't give it to me right now, you're gonna hit me. I was like, well, I don't know what you're gonna do, bro. Because even if you took it, you couldn't get access to what's mine because my name is on it. People want access to what you have, but they ain't been showing up when you have to show up so that you can get what you can get. They didn't come when you told them we got to do this. They didn't come, so they don't get to show. They don't get to get what you get, even if they took it, try to take it from you. If they go there and they try to purchase it, they're gonna be denied because their name is not on it. This is something your name is on. Because this is something you've been showing up for. You've been going through the process. You stood in the line. You waited. You were patient. I don't care what you did or what you didn't do. I don't care who came or who didn't come. You went. And so because you went, you get to receive your reward. Because your name, baby, that name is on that thing. And it's your name, ain't nobody else's. So it don't matter if they think they can bully you out of it, try to take it from you. They can't take nothing that your name is on. They have no authority over it. It's like the 5 bridesmaids and the 10 bridesmaids, and 5 of them went back for oil, and the other 5 got to go in. You know why they didn't get to go in? They didn't get prepared. But all this whole time, baby, you've been preparing. God says, I prepare a place for you in the presence of your enemies. So while they get mad that you getting blessed, guess what? God just pointed out an enemy. He said, you about to eat, baby. The more enemies you see gathering around you means that you about to eat. The more enemies you see showing up behind you means you about to eat. Means your table is very close. I need you to sit down. I need you to get real comfortable. I need you to bring up. God's about to bring the plates and the cups and the food. He said, I made a whole thing for you. Not only did I prepare the meal, I prepared the table. So the more enemies you see, the more people you see falling off, the more people you see trying to come, the more back talking, the more I can't believe she did this, the more isolated it seems like you are, the smaller your circle continues to get. That's because, baby, you in the right space at the right time in the right mind. Do you understand? The right space, the right time, and the right mind. God said, I prepared the table in the presence of your enemies so they can watch you eat. He said, taste and see that the Lord is good. They're going to be seeing you taste and eat, because when they had the opportunity, they did not take it. And so who are they to come now daring to demand anything from your plate? They can't touch what's yours. God says, I planned this meal with you in mind. Please. Got me mad. Please. You done came too far. You did what you were supposed to do. God didn't say he remembered any of those mistakes now, did he? He said, I cast it as far as the east is from the west. In the sea of forgetfulness. You know, when Daniel was in the lion's den, and I'm probably go after this. When Daniel was in the lion's den, he closed the mouths of the lions. So the angels, they came and they closed the mouths of the lions. And he got put there by the king. because of his silliness and his immaturity. Why were all the kings so immature? I don't know. So many of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I keep thinking about the word den. See, a den usually, is a place where the lions or the bears or whatever they go, hibernate, eat, whatever, wolves, their den. But in the house, you have a den. A den where you sit and you chill. You may be cozy. It's in the den. It's in the den. When you go in the den, there's something right there for you in the den. You can also eat in the den. We have dining rooms, we have dens, we have different spaces in our house. But people can eat in the den. They can get a lot of work done in the den. It's usually a smaller space in the house where, you don't always go there, but you may go there for particular things. So you may feel like you in the lion's den, but baby, don't mean your table's not right there. You may feel a little bit without some things, but you got everything you need. It was never for them. It was never for them. I don't care how big your bully looks. The rest of that story, I was too logical for him to really bully y'all. I was like, it doesn't make sense to me because my name's on it. How can you use my lunch card for breakfast? How can you use my breakfast card? Before he knew it, my bigger brothers, tap, tap, on the shoulder. He looks, tap, tap. On the other shoulder, he looks. Is there a problem? No, no problem. No problem. Do you think God would send you in alone? Do you think God would send you in that thing by yourself? No, no. No, no, no. Not at all. Do you think he would send you in there by yourself? And while they were dealing with him, I just said, well, and I went on, got my breakfast, and ate at the table. You can't have what's for me. And I don't want what's for nobody else because I don't want to go through what you got to go through to get, because what I had to go through to get to my table was enough, okay? But it's time to eat. You've been through the changes, you've been through the transitions, you've been through the growing pains, you went through the valley, you shadow death, all that stuff. You went through so many things. And now you can literally look at yourself and notice something is different. And some things you may think, oh, that's not that great, but it is better than you know or realize. And it's because it's time to eat. Before you ever get to a table to eat, you always wash your hands. Some people even go ahead and take a full-on shower, change their clothes, and get settled in for the meal. You had to wash some things off before you came to the table. Some of you had to go and take a full shower. Some of you had to submerge yourself in water, but it was always water that would touch your hands, your face, your feet, or something on your body before you got to that table. It was the water that changed you. It was the water that you had to pass through before you got to your table. It was the Jordan that they had to pass through before they got to the promised land. The Red Sea they had to pass through before they came out of Egypt into the desert. They had to pass through something, some type of water. Your hands, your body, you have to touch something to renew yourself so that you will be different when you sat at the table. And who you were at the beginning of this journey ain't the same one sitting at the table. But by golly, let me tell you, all the gifts, the dream, the promise, the oil is there. I will lead you beside the still waters, restore your soul, lead you in the path of righteousness. It's time to eat. You have been renewed. You've been brought back to the first thing God ever told you, your promise, the dream. You don't want to believe it's real, but it's happening. It hurts too much to believe it's real, but it's happening. Don't be discouraged by how overwhelming the pain of trauma feels when the dream waves at you and says, come on up on the hill. Let me remind you of who you are and put your cloak back on. Let me put the coat of many colors back on your shoulders. Let me wrap you up once again. 2 fathers, 2 sons, 2 cloaks. One started with a cloak. One ended up with the cloak. And the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. No matter how you put it, you still win. It's your turn. And this is more than just a season, guys. And it's more than just a turn. This is about to be your life. This is why your mindset is different. Your identity is different. How you go and do things is different. And whatever needs to be healed from the process is going to heal. But in the dream, that is now reality. It will heal from the experiences, in the experiences. Okay. One more time. I've had some good days. And I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and some sleepless nights. But when I look around and I think things over, all of my good days, only my bad days, I won't complain. God, I just thank you for today. I thank you, Lord, that you've taken me on this journey of this podcast and you've shown me so many things about who I am now. Who I was when I started is not who I am today. And who I am today will not be who I am tomorrow. God, there's still so many things we are trying to process and take in. But let us not take away from the moment that change has come. And we're beginning to see it bloom. We're beginning to see it open up and show its beautiful petals to us. God, I thank you, Lord, that this season is not just a season. We might have dealt with a season of growth, a season of waiting, a season of patience, a season of being consistently faithful with no evidence. But this place we're in is a lifestyle change. A lifestyle change that knocks at the tender places of our hearts. My Alexa. A lifestyle change that knocks at the tender places of our hearts, that make it difficult to believe that the dream is really in front of us. It's real. So God, help us to embrace it, receive it as much as we can as we go closer and closer to it. Thank you for making us who we are. Thank you for being with us. And for those who don't know you, I pray they know you by this prayer. Lord, I pray that you come into my heart and forgive me for all of my mistakes and sins toward you. And I believe that The Son of God is Jesus. I believe that he died on the cross for us and covered our souls, and that I am redeemed by him. I pray that you allow your Son to come live in my heart. I want him to come live in my heart and in my life. I dedicate my life to him. Thank you for coming to live in me and change my world. I receive you as my Lord and Savior. In Jesus' name, amen. So if you prayed that last part of the prayer, you are saved. John 3:16. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord. John 3:16. Look it up. I have to go. There's so much more to this. It felt like it took so long for me to get to the point. But I guess it's in keeping with the message that things take time sometimes. The journey, although that may not look like much at first, it may not make sense at first. At the end, it all comes together. Thank you for your time. Thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for choosing to share or listen to the podcast. It's been live a lot. Hopefully there's some pre-recorded shows coming soon, but we're just in this thing. We're just figuring it out together. And if you feel like any of my podcasts are just audio or visual, you can look it up on the page or Spotify. The audio is on there. If you feel like it can help anybody, please share. And if you feel like it can help you, please subscribe. And please comment and let me know what helped you. I say this all the time about our crowns, that they may tilt. Sometimes they do fall. And I tell us usually to pick it back up and put it on our heads. But today, I want to offer you this gesture that if that's all you have, cast it at his feet and see what happens. Take your time with God. Take your time to hear him. Take your time to love him. Take your time to laugh with him and enjoy him. Yes, you can laugh with God. God has a wonderful sense of humor. Take your time with God today, because today's just different. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Remember, you matter. All of you. All parts of you matter. And so be safe, Godspeed, and I'll see you at the throne next time.